So Nick, when you're dealing in reels, when you're dealing in big game reels like you're holding right there,
Yep.
so when, in the past we used to have, our captains used to always tell us, always store the reel in free spool clicker.
Yep.
And when you're washing the reel, always take the lever and push it all the way forward for the drag. Is there validity to that anymore?
To a small point, it is good to always have your reel still in free spool with your clicker on for storing. All your drag plates are woven washers, and if you have it locked up, more pressure on it, the fibers in those washers that actually give you the drag is the texture, and that texture will slowly come out longer that it's pressed together. It'll lose its memory because it's compacted so tightly. By keeping it in the free spool position, there's no pressure on your drag washers, there's no pressure on any of the springs inside the reel, and you'll be able to have a little bit extra life out of your drag. And also, when rinsing your reels, it's never a bad idea to have a little bit of drag on them so that those washers are concealed and there's no water able to get into side of them.
Can the water actually get in now? Is there a cover in there?
There is a plastic cover over your drags. At the end of the day, water is thin. It can get into places. So a little extra security is never a bad idea. It's not 100% necessary, like old asbestos drag washers that were in the original Internationals and Senators. If you didn't have your drag pushed up when you rinsed them, there was a good chance you were getting water on the plates. Modern day reels, a little bit newer technology. There's always a plastic gasket with a screw-on lid over your drag plates to help them stay waterproof, but water always sneaks in somewhere. So having a little bit of drag keeps them compressed, less water can get in, a little bit of extra preventative maintenance, but storing them away, clicker on, free spool, your line's not going to go anywhere, and it's better for the overall reel because there are multiple springs and washers that when the lever is engaged, there's heavy tension and heavy pressure on them. So relax your reels when they're not being used.
Relax the reels when they're not being used. Very interesting. So one last question for you on the subject of the drag in the reel, and as you say that to me, so Nick, talk about air conditioning and the difference. Like I remember at times we used to take our reels out or leave them on the bridge because we didn't want the air conditioning or the element of moisture and change. So is that something that's real?
I haven't done enough testing on that to know, but condensation is real.
Yes.
And if you have your reels in a 72-degree boat, just like the dew that's on your boat in the morning, as soon as you bring it out or your glasses fog up, the inside of your reel is going to fog up. And next thing you know, you might have had your drag set at 30 pounds at strike, and that 7:30 a.m. screaming wahoo bite or marlin, you might not have that same drag because the stainless drag plates that are in there are going to have extra moisture to them, and you might even cause that to have a sticky drag to where it'll cause you to pull a hook. So if you're tournament fishing, make sure your reels are
acclimated.
That's what I was thinking of, acclimated to the temperature.
That's a really, really good way to think about it. But when you walk out and you're fogging up your glasses, what's happening to the inside of a reel?
Exact same thing. Probably a lot worse because metal holds the cold.
Yes.
And everything inside that reel is going to have a little bit of a moisture to it once it comes out of that nice cold salon to 80-degree morning heat.
Yeah, very, very cool. So definitely we're gonna store them with the clicker on and free spool clicker. We're gonna wash them. We're not gonna pour the water into the reel. We're just gonna spray it lightly and tighten up the drag a little bit and then back it off.
There's pressure on everything as soon as you push that lever up. That's why it gets harder to push the lever farther you go. So everything's binding and springs are compressing and washers have more pressure on them. Put it in free spool, relax the reels. Don't let anything crack because of constant pressure. You might not maintain your stuff, and that longevity might not let it open up.